real quick. So in this episode, we're going to talk about. Ooh, we went to the wide. I'm just going to go with the wide rather than the.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Sneeze. Hang on.
I gotta take a leak so bad.
Just need to get that. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about. Oh my God! What all did we talk about? Oh,
well,
so we started with all the movies to.
Yeah, this is the movie stuff. Yeah.
So with this, let me get it back. So with this episode, we're going to talk about how reboots and remakes are being affected, starting with Tron, going into a bunch of other stuff like the prequel to It called Welcome to Derry, and the Hunt for Gollum, Lord of the Rings story, along with a lot of other stuff that's happening in media today. Get us started.
There we go. Let's see.
So yeah, I'm getting us started here. So normally, I'm a glasses half full kind of guy when it comes to movies. Like, I don't really like to bitch a lot about movies. I actually try to I'm just one of those people that I love that voluntary suspension of disbelief. Like, a movie has to be really bad for me to start criticizing it and getting angry about stuff. Like, I just don't get upset about movies in most cases, but there's just a trend of late that I've just not at all been a fan of. And it's like right now we have coming up in a couple weeks, the third Tron movie, Tron Ares. Now, as a part of that, Disney just did a massive 4K remaster of the original Tron movie and Tron Legacy from 2010. And we talked about like what the big changes to the original Tron were. And they did already just quietly released it on Disney Plus. So I watched it and I was floored by how good the original Tron looked, because the big worry everybody has now is when you remaster an old movie that they change it too much, or they add too much of like new effects and whatever, and there's a lot of complaints that that's not the movie I remember kind of thing. Well, I'm here to tell you the original Tron 4K remaster, that's actually an 8K remaster, but you can only stream it in 4K. It is the original movie from the cinemas, but it is remastered. There's still film grain. They didn't do too much grain killer like a lot of modern movies do. They did clean up the effects, but they didn't change any effect at all. And so it is exactly kind of like what I think all the people that want to see the original version of a movie kind of remastered, this is the gold standard.
So it's on Disney Plus.
It's on
right
Disney
now.
Plus right now.
They didn't do a very good job of promoting it.
They didn't promote it at all.
I was going to say I did not even see it.
Tron has been on in 1080p for years since Disney Plus started. You could get a really nice HD version of the movie with just 5.1. Well, this is 4K with Dolby Atmos sound remastered, and it looked and sounded truly astounding. And yet there's still some digital like mistakes that are still there. When they cleaned it up a lot, but they didn't change it, if that makes any sense. Like, it's amazing to see how good the original movie looked. It felt like I was seeing it in the best movie theater possible in 1982.
Was Jeff Bridges in the original? Or
yes.
Okay.
So Jeff Bridges was in the original. And then there's the 2010 Tron Legacy is a bit controversial. First off, they did a lot of the very early de-aging, and that's remastered in 4K, and I watched most of it, not all of it. The de-aging of Jeff Bridges looks awful. Really bad. Now, they justify it because it's, for most of the movie, it's not really him. It's a digital character.
Right.
So it can look bad, but when they're doing the actual de-aged Jeff Bridges as a human, and it looks exactly as bad, this is one of those cases where you kind of wish they would remaster the movie and redo the effects and redo them from scratch and give it the really good look to separate the two. And they didn't do that. But, and the other thing is, it is one of those reboot remakes.
We're talking about the one coming out.
Tron Legacy was a reboot remake because it's a sequel, but it's essentially the plot of the first, like the scene by scene remakes of the original. There's the light cycles, there's the one game fight, then they get away, then they have to do this, and then they have to get on the digital sky rail. It's just like, that's the reason I remember being disappointed. It's like, they didn't go that original. It's kind of like they just followed a pattern. They followed a pattern of, we're going to remake it, but also it's a sequel. Well, this new one, Tron Ares with Jared Leto, it's an all new, all original thing. But what's weird to me is like everything they did in Tron Legacy, they're just kind of like, it looks like they're throwing it to the side because they had set up things like in an unnamed cameo in Tron Legacy. Like in the original Tron, the bad guy is David Warner, classic actor who played bad guys in so many movies. He was a bad guy in he was in Star Trek 5 and 6 as two different characters. He was in Star Trek Next Generation as a bad guy, as a Cardassian. He was the bad guy playing Jack the Ripper in Time After Time. He was the bad guy in Waxwork. Like he was the bad guy in Time Bandits.
So that's like typecasting?
Yes, he was a character actor that had always played bad guys. He played Sark slash Dillinger. Ed Dillinger is a guy that like stole Jeff Bridges' video games. So the funny thing is they had Cillian Murphy played his son, uncredited in one scene in Tron Legacy, setting up that, we're going to bring back the bad guy. The son of the bad guy is going to do something now. Well, now in the new movie, they've got a completely different actor playing his grandson or something. And it's like, you did all these setups and didn't pay him off. You have the guy playing Jeff Bridges' son, who doesn't appear to be in this new movie at all. They're just ignoring everything they set up. And so it just makes me wonder, why?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I just I know that it looks good.
That's the thing. I disagree. I think it looks terrible.
You think it looks terrible?
I think Tron Ares looks terrible. The effects look good.
That's what I'm talking about.
Story and plot just looks like something I don't care about.
I'm talking about effects.
The effects look amazing.
But the story, though, is what? He comes from the future, the digital world.
What they're saying is, they have a totally different. They have the Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the Fox X-Men movies. Evan Peters plays the son or grandson of Dillinger from the first Tron, and he's found a way to take these military programs and almost like 3D print them in the real world. So they're taking these digital soldiers and printing them off in the real world where they can fight and just be disposed of. And so Ares is one of these programs that's printed in the real world with the weapons and stuff. So somehow these things just get loose in the real world.
AI beings, right?
AI beings.
Yes.
So that's the whole thing is like, I like the idea of the AI beings and stuff, but what I always liked about Tron was that it was this metaphor for what's in the computer. When you start to take things from the computer and they're in the real world, it doesn't make its own internal logic doesn't make sense anymore.
There is one thing that's of interest to me, and they're actually coming to Columbus, I think, beginning of next year. 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, yeah. 9 Inch Nails is doing the score for
exactly.
Which I love. I've got the soundtrack already. I mean, first off, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross of 9 Inch Nails have been doing film scores for years.
Yes.
And for 9 Inch Nails to be doing not only the score, but also the soundtrack and music. Like, the other thing that was really awesome in Tron Legacy was the music. Daft Punk did the score and appeared in the movie.
Okay.
And it was awesome, and it was perfect. And the song from this, like 9 Inch Nails, they're just killing it with this. I love their music. And they're originally from Akron, Ohio.
I didn't know they were from Ohio. The whole band, or Trent's from Akron?
Trent is from Akron, Ohio.
Wow.
In fact, there was my little bit of trivia of the days. There was this movie in 1987 called Light of Day with Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox. And it takes place in Cleveland. And Trent Reznor is in 2 different other local bands that appear in the movie.
Nice.
He's in it twice in 2 different bands as a keyboard player. He started off more as a synth pop, like the Eurythmics style in the 80s before he found his stride in the 90s with 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
when he really found his voice.
Maybe this is, it'd be nice to see rock have a comeback of some sort. I mean, I know it's still there, but it's not the dominant music of today.
No, but
so it'd be nice to see if the soundtrack's already out. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, the soundtrack's out.
I'll have to take a listen.
It's fantastic. Like, there's the one new main song that was in the trailers. That song by Nine Inch Nails is just phenomenal. And there's now an official music video for it that's really stylized.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like industrial gritty, that kind
industrial gritty, hard.
Yeah. It needs that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just, I mean, I'm not going to fully say that the movie's not going to be good. I'm just saying I don't like the way it looks in the trailers. Well, the trailers can be misleading.
Yeah.
I'll give any movie a shot. And it looks like it's going to be a spectacle to look at no matter what.
I guess we'll find out the release numbers. I probably not going to have. It's probably going to hit that weekend and be gone.
Unfortunately, that's the way most movies have been trending lately.
Yeah. I don't. Tron, it made some news. I mean, we talked about it earlier, and then suddenly it started making its rounds. It has to, because you got to have some kind of publicity to get people to go. So it'd be interesting to see what people have any comments on what they think of Tron. And
I mean, that's a big thing to ask anybody listening to this is, do you think Tron Ares looks good or not? Do you think it's going to be a hit? Do you think it's going to bomb? What do you guys think?
Yeah. Looks like they're saying that this isn't much money anymore, because I remember when Adam Sandler did $55 million on an opening weekend, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Way back. Now opening weekend projections are like 42 to 55 million. That's it.
Well, I mean, it's so hard for a movie to break through at theaters anymore.
Well, I mean, that thing had to cost some money.
It looks like a solid 140, 150 mil budget.
Yeah.
Is my guess, just off the top. Easily.
Well, it usually hits China, ahead of time?
No,
not this
things have changed. Like, since one thing I remember in 1999 was the last year of this kind of traditional staggered release. Because in 1999, I remember I saw Phantom Menace when it came out in May. And then I went to Europe in August, and it was world premiering in Spain in 1999 in August, 5-6 months later. The problem is with bootlegging, the internet, people camcording the movie, they have to do a day and date release now. It's worldwide, same day.
I guess
worldwide.
What you can do
they do is maybe 1 week difference.
Yeah. I think from what I've seen, at least a couple days. Plus, you got the time difference.
Yep.
The bad thing I think going on in China, there's been a typhoon there for a while, and they're on their holiday week. There's this, I don't know if they call it Golden Week. They've been out all week. So if Tron's not this weekend though.
No,
it's following weekend. Okay. Well, we'll look out for it and see how it does.
There was other big news at a sci-fi convention recently about another prequel movie coming out. The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, that takes place in between the Hobbit movies and the Lord of the Rings movies. It's being directed by Andy Serkis, the guy who played Gollum, is directing the film. And confirmed, beyond all doubt, is Ian McKellen is back as Gandalf, and Elijah Wood is back as Frodo. Peter Jackson is a writer-producer on the movie.
Yeah.
The problem I have with it is, why? I mean, it's like the worst thing in the world is that when you come to J.R.R. Tolkien, you have so much amazing, fertile story that has never been told. This is not one of them. This is literally some of the most boring, uninteresting things, and they're going to make a feature film out of this. Trying to just find Gollum after he leaves. He leaves his cave.
Yeah.
Goes to see Sauron, gets tortured, then goes to look for Frodo, and he doesn't find him. It's like this is not a movie. This doesn't even sound remotely. There's a reason they skipped over it. And here's the other thing is, like, you have the Amazon Prime series called The Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Which is hugely disappointing to most people. Here's the thing is, they are playing with and screwing up my favorite story of all time from the Silmarillion. The Silmarillion is a prequel book that literally takes place over tens of thousands of years prior to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. It is the setup of what happened. It's their creation myth through this. It has some of the greatest stories ever written by man. And they're not adapting that faithfully at all. And that's the problem with the show, is they're taking so many weird liberties and changing things just to change them. And so it's like, but they have some of the best stories ever written they could be pulling on, and they're not using them.
Who's the do you know who the studio is behind this?
Oh yeah, the new one is so the rights were interestingly sold. The Hobbit was sold separate from the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So what happened is The Hobbit was sold to Saul Zentz, who's in San Francisco, and he had sold them originally for animated, and then he sold the live action rights to MGM.
Oh, that all makes sense now. Yeah.
So now you know where it's going.
Yeah.
But the rights to Lord of the Rings had gone to originally they'd gone to Miramax, who then, when the Weinstein brothers were completely moronic,
that ruined
and tried
that.
to cut it from 3 movies down to 2, Peter Jackson was able to get them to sell the rights to someone else, and they sold it to New Line right before New Line was gobbled up by Warner Brothers, HBO. So what happened is, when it came to the Hobbit movies, New Line and Warner had to work with MGM, and MGM at the time was Sony. So they had to come to terms and get everybody on board business-wise. But then when the rights were fully for sale again for Lord of the Rings, MGM got bought away from Sony to Amazon. And Amazon spent $1 billion to get the rights to the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Jesus.
And Lock, Stock, and Barrel, and to everything. But the thing is, they're doing this Rings of Power based on the Silmarillion, but they're not allowed to use any of the names from the Silmarillion because it's a separate book with separate rights. But all the stories are summarized in the index of the Lord of the Rings. So they're allowed to use the storylines, but they can only use a name if it's written in the Lord of the Rings. So you have characters that have a full name in the Silmarillion, but if they were only summarized and skipped over in Lord of the Rings, they can't use that character's name. This is where intellectual property rights just gets so ridiculously stupid. But here's the problem with this movie, and it's a recurring problem with a lot of movies when you do a prequel. Yeah, people are clamoring for more of their favorite characters, but it's a very unfulfilling experience when you already know how things are going to turn out. Mm-hmm. So with this, we already know, Gollum lost the ring, he gets tortured, and he never finds it until we see him in the next week. So what is the point? Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is not going to be a fulfilling watching experience.
I agree with you, and I don't want to torture myself to go through that story, especially I already know hours and hours and hours of watching this stuff. I don't want to see Gollum anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care if he crawled out of a tadpole.
It doesn't matter.
I just don't care.
And in the same vein, that leads me to the next thing, which is, so we're about to get the premiere of an HBO Max series about the town of Derry.
Yeah.
Which is like a prequel series to the movies It, Chapter 1 and 2.
Yeah. Now, I loved It.
I loved It.
I like all having all the child actors in it.
Oh, I thought It Chapter 1 was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It Chapter 2 was good.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
It was very good.
It's good to see that they're grown up, you know.
See the grown-up versions.
Yeah.
The flashbacks were good. They did a lot with it. The effects were phenomenal. But here's the thing is, what made that resonate was it's a beginning, middle, and end. They covered a lot of stuff in the past in, not with extreme detail, but here's the problem is, going through that every 27 years and going to the different time periods to see what the clown Pennywise did we already know how it ends, and it doesn't end with these, so it's going to be an unfulfilling series because we've already seen how it ends.
Maybe the theory on something like a prequel is the fact that you're trying to get an audience that hasn't seen the films. So if you make a prequel, maybe it'll interest. Just like I talked about younger people liking Stallone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they went back and now, of course, that's a lot longer period. You got 20, 30, 40 years of movie history that you can go back and see. This isn't that old, you know.
Yeah, this is only a few years old.
Yeah,
like 2019.
So probably most people have seen it then.
So I think the big thing about this with the prequel called Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
Because again, the Stephen King novel, which was like almost 1,000 pages, if not over 1,000 pages, it went into huge amounts of detail of the different time periods every 27 years when the creature comes out to hunt. It can be interesting, but how fulfilling is it when you know they don't defeat it? How interesting is it going to be when you already know how the bad guy lives later?
Well, here's the thing, though. We've liked some of these other shows of The Predator, you know, where there are different time periods.
The consequences aren't.
We just know that they fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that can only take you so far, in my opinion. I think the biggest problem is, like, you look at the one example that's now the biggest corporate machine is Star Wars at Disney. But it didn't start that way. It started as an original IP. 20th Century Fox rolled the dice on an original concept. Nobody is risking that much right now. I mean, Stranger Things came from an original IP. And I wish that more people would take those chances on original IP.
Yeah. You know, the risk, well, it's a risk either way, but
it's a risk either way.
They still seem to want to play off something that they knew made money at one point and somehow try to just squeeze a little bit more blood out of it, you know?
Yep.
I think It Chapter 1 was $700 million globally. And I don't think it costs very much to make that film. So I would say these are fairly inexpensive films. Of course, I mean, the clown, I guess I want to know where he came from. I don't know, maybe.
They already covered where he came from.
Yeah. But I mean, I get to see it.
Well, they showed it in It Chapter 2. They showed how it got there, what it did. I don't need more detail than that. And it doesn't seem like there's not a lot more detail to it.
Well, I don't know. I guess for me, I'd like to see another one way, or if it's a prequel or another 27 years. I like the franchise, so I'm going to give it. I'm okay with it.
See, the thing is, I'm going to
especially if it's on HBO.
The thing is, I will give it a chance.
It's free for me then.
I liked the movies well enough that even though I'm dead set against a prequel, I'll give it a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to give it a chance because I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to suck before giving it a chance. But if they don't have me hooked within 2 or 3 episodes,
you're out of there.
I'm not going to keep watching.
Oh, no, you think it's a series?
It is a series on HBO Max.
Oh, okay, so it's a series.
It's a series of multiple seasons.
Okay, well, geez. Well, okay. I don't know. That might change the game a little bit because
it's a bigger time commitment.
Yeah.
A much, much bigger time commitment now when you think about it this way.
Okay, well,
I mean, it looks interesting. Like, they're dealing with 27 years prior, so like the 1950s, I think, early 60s, late 50s.
1960s backdrop, civil rights, small town oppression, Cold War.
Yep.
Commies, the same old story. That I don't like that time period. I mean, I was just a little baby, but I don't like revisiting. I'm done with that Vietnam War stuff. I'm done with all the hippies and smoking the pot and Woodstock.
It's been so well covered.
It has been.
I mean, the 80s talked about the 60s more than the 60s did.
Yes.
We talked about the 1960s for 20 years as opposed to the 10 years of that decade actually being. I'm fed up with it. Like, one of my favorite artists, like Jimi Hendrix, I can't really listen to much anymore because I listened to it so much.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fed up with listening to Jimi Hendrix now.
Yeah. I actually skip over if he's playing, I skip it. I don't know why. I guess it's just I don't want to hear anything about that stuff, that culture.
The only exception for that for me is the Beatles. I can listen to the Beatles forever.
Yeah.
The Beatles to me are a little bit more timeless.
I think Paul McCartney's going to do U.S. tour again.
Oh yeah, he's booked in Columbus.
Is he coming to Columbus?
He's coming to Columbus.
Did you
Paul
know
McCartney in his 80s is still...
Is he in his 80s now?
He's in his 80s.
He there's a song he hasn't performed it since the 60s. One of the Beatles.
Help.
Yes.
He opened a recent concert with, because the big thing with that is that's a John Lennon song.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
That's why people were freaked out, because he opened his show with a John Lennon song. Because it was one of those things where everything was credited as Lennon-McCartney when they were at the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
But there was always a primary writer of almost every song. Very few of their songs were 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing that's coming out soon that's going to be really interesting was we're at the 30th anniversary of the Beatles Anthology. Now, the Beatles Anthology was a multimedia project. It was a book, it was a TV series, and a set of 3 double CD albums.
Yeah, it was brilliant, really.
Oh, it was. What was amazing was like the Beatles had never done a documentary about themselves in their own words. Other people had done documentaries, but they had no say and wouldn't do interviews for it. So they did everything, and they had all these archives of different interviews with John to really fill it out. And they did it with Yoko's permission. Well, the problem with it, and it even had a DTS 5.1 surround soundtrack. Because I have the DVD set. Now, what happened was originally they did 3 nights with 2-hour documentaries with commercials. So 3 90-minute documentaries. But when it came out on VHS and DVD, they did it as 8 1-hour documentaries. Well, it's never been remastered. And so thanks to Peter Jackson and the new sound mix, and also all the way he was up-resing the film prints, like they did for Let It Be, Peter Jackson took over the remaster of Beatles Anthology, and so now it's going to be a Disney Plus release in 4K with a Dolby Atmos surround soundtrack of all 8 parts, but they added a new 9th episode. Mostly covering the recording of the newer songs, for they're now 30 years old.
Jeez.
So it's an amazing new, and they added another double disc album to it. So there's now a Beatles Anthology Volume 4 CD set. There's a 9th episode that wasn't there before. It's going to be, I mean, I'm hooked. I watched when they did the redo of Let It Be called Get Back.
Yeah.
I watched that thing, and so many people were like, it was like watching paint dry to them. I'm like, I will watch them paint a wall and let it dry. If they're talking, I'm going to watch it. Because it was such an amazing, insightful view into their creative process at that stage.
Well, that's what it's always about, their creative process and how they came up with what they came up with.
Those 4 guys together was a magical thing. And it's weird because they refer to themselves almost in the third person. Paul will talk about what the Beatles did. He never says what we did. He said what the Beatles did. They always refer to it as the Beatles. So Ringo, George, and Paul would always call it the Beatles, but they're talking about themselves.
Yeah.
They would always refer to it like...
Well, they were probably trained to say that early on.
But the weirdness is like, but as grown-ups far away from it, they would think of it as we weren't one person. We were a 4-headed monster.
Well, the Beatles is what made them iconic. The Beatles. If you always use your iconic name in everything, because then somebody has a reference. They may not know you individually, which would be silly, but if you say the Beatles, people look up.
So the funny thing is I have a theory about the Beatles from the age-old argument of there's always the thing about Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles, which is complete nonsense. That's been disproven over and over. The biggest evidence of that was in the new version of Let It Be, the Get Back one, which was when he's not there, when John and Yoko are not at the studio, Paul is defending them to everybody else. Everybody thought that Paul hated her and that's why they broke up. It's like Paul is talking about how much John was in love with her. That is like, her being here doesn't bother me in the slightest. Like, he's like, it helps. He's good. He's in love right now and it shows, and he's happy with her. Like, he's defending her in front of everybody. Now, the one person who really didn't like her was George, but that's not what broke up the Beatles at all. And if you watch Anthology, they never say it themselves, but to me, it's perfectly obvious that what broke up the Beatles was the death of their manager, Brian Epstein. Brian Epstein was their manager and their father figure. He was only like 5-6 years older than them, if not less. He was their manager, but he was like a father figure, which is if there was a fight between any of the Beatles about anything, like, I want my song to be first. No, I want my song to be first. Or George's like, I want more songs. Like, no, you only get one song. Brian would break the votes. He'd be like, no, John's song is first. It's better on this album. And if Brian said it, no one argued.
That's nice.
But when he's gone, there's a power vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah.
John formed the band, but wanted to quit. Paul was in the most prolific songwriting phase of his life, writing so much music. And John was very competitive and jealous. So John was writing throwaway songs just to show Paul, oh yeah, I can write a stupid song too, and just would write a song. And they just fueled each other's stuff. And as George was getting better, Paul's looking at him like, you're my little brother, you're my little friend. No, this isn't good. This isn't good as what we're doing. And John would be like, George, your song sucks. Forget it. And he was so dismissive, and George is getting upset. So when you have this power vacuum, well, Paul stepped up and started to do Brian's kind of management duties. And the other three were like, who the hell are you to try to take charge? Especially John, who's like, I formed this band. Like, but you're trying to quit. You keep wanting to quit. You don't even want to be in charge.
Well, you know, it's a good reference, too, is when the same thing happened to Kiss. When their manager or main producer, and when he passed away, because there's always been a power struggle with Gene and Paul with the rest of the guys, you know. And when their tour guy passed away, I mean, it devastated them. Next thing you know, man, they sold out. You know, within a couple of years, they sold everything. So you're right. It's a certain figure that they all respect and if you want to call it a father figure, I mean, you got to have somebody
that can make decisions.
Yeah, because when you're a creative genius, like, you know, you think a certain way, and like you can't look at it from the outside. You're always going to think, well, my creative's the best. You need someone else to.
And with Kiss, what they always did is they would basically do one album that's Paul Stanley heavy songwriting and singing. The next album would be Gene Simmons as the primary writer, and they just alternated every other album. But when you had Peter Criss and Ace Frehley wanting to do stuff, their first solution was to do those 4 solo albums under that name.
Yeah, that was their solution.
But that was a Band-Aid because their egos were all getting so big. So when Ace Frehley and Peter Criss left, I think Peter Criss left first, then Ace Frehley left.
Well, I think Ace is always forced to leave because they didn't treat him very well. Plus,
no, they didn't.
You know, he was a little bit,
he was
a little tipsy.
Then you had, what was it, Vincent, what was his name? The next guitarist.
Yeah, I mean, I had to think about that. Vincent, I don't want to say Vaughn. Was it Vincent Vaughn?
No, and I keep wanting to say Vince Vega, but that's the name of a character from a Quentin Tarantino. But, Kiss was just a fascinating thing. I remember Bruce Kulick was their main guitarist throughout most of the 80s.
Vinnie Vincent?
Vinnie Vincent, that's it.
Yeah.
Because Ace Frehley had Frehley's Comet, then you had Vinnie Vincent, had the Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
That's right, that's right.
And so they had these Kiss spin-off bands, and it was all very interesting just because they went with no makeup for a while. Then they redid things with makeup. Then they had 3 or 4 reunion retirement tours.
Yeah, there was many of those.
3 or 4 or 5 of those at different points. But I think they're genuinely, truly retired at this point, right?
Yeah, they no longer own their IP. So
I saw recently that Ace Frehley, not with Frehley's Comet, but Ace Frehley was doing shows.
I did too.
Gene Simmons would show up to play a couple songs.
Yeah, I think now they're. I mean, Gene's out there. He's hitting all kind of little towns. I think he played in Dayton not that long ago. They all still wonder if he can really play bass or not. I don't know. But so there
was always more. He was a very good heavy metal songwriter.
Yeah,
that's where his strength always was.
But yeah, it's just all these guys are all just out now. I don't see Paul out there singing anywhere at somebody's bar mitzvah anymore. But it used to be for $25K, you could get those two to show up at a party. Hello and goodbye.
Yeah, I remember seeing one of the most cringy early YouTube videos I saw was a wedding band. They were at a wedding in New Jersey, and John Bon Jovi's there as a guest.
Oh.
And they start doing Bon Jovi songs and convince him to sing, and he's so like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
and it's cringy because it's a wedding band.
Oh, man.
And it sounds like a wedding band. They're cheesy as hell, and they're doing cheesy versions of Bon Jovi songs to try to coax him and sing. It's like, I think you're having the opposite effect.
Yeah.
And eventually he just relents and sings one song with them so they'll stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember that being so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also a brand new movie, a biography of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Jeremy Allen White, who's the grandson of Gene Wilder, is playing Bruce Springsteen in the movie.
Okay, so that's who's playing Bruce Springsteen.
And it looks like he's actually singing it, too.
I saw just a tiny... I've only seen photos. I've not seen any video.
I saw video the first time today.
Oh, okay.
I've still never seen the trailer for it.
Yeah, I haven't seen a trailer. I don't know if it's already shot. Apparently, maybe
it's coming out this week.
Oh, it's coming out this week. In what?
The theaters.
Oh, in theaters. Okay, so another, what do you call that? Biopic. We'll see how that goes. I mean, the Elvis one did pretty well.
Elvis did pretty well, but then did that double whammy right after each other was the Queen one and then the Elton John one.
What about that? Wasn't there one on Bob Dylan too?
Yeah, then Bob Dylan
that was
did
this
really well
wasn't that this
last year? It was up for Oscars this past February.
Okay,
March.
Didn't win anything.
I think it won something, but not everything. Okay. Not the big ones.
Okay.
Because it had that Timothy Chalamet,
that's right,
the boy du jour, as they would say. But yeah, this is where movies are at today. Is like, it's tough for theaters. One thing you're seeing a lot more as a trend is like, I know this is a big anniversary, 40th anniversary for Back to the Future. So there's a big re-release of Back to the Future coming out soon. That I'll go see that in IMAX just to see it in the theater again.
Yeah, I don't know whether I will. I've seen it so many times. Plus, it's one of my favorite rides in Disney, or is it? Or I can't.
That's a Universal.
Universal, it's just.
I've seen it enough times, but at the same time, seeing it in a movie theater, is a magical, different experience for me. It's my religion, and that's going to church.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't like seeing. Ever since he got Parkinson's and
Michael J. Fox,
the reality of it, because they're still alive, and then you just
what's interesting for him is he's shooting right now season 3 of the Apple Plus series Shrinking, where Harrison Ford plays a therapist who has Parkinson's, and the showrunner is the guy who co-created Spin City with Michael J. Fox.
Jeez.
So there's a big connection there. Like he apparently, I didn't realize this, the guy invented the character having Parkinson's, and showing the struggle was his big like love letter to Michael J. Fox. And now season 3, they got Michael J. Fox to be in it.
Jeez, they're pulling that off.
They're lifelong friends.
Yeah. No, I don't mean that. I mean technically.
Oh, he can still act. He just can't do the rigorous schedule of us.
Yeah, just saying. Series. I mean, you'd be short spans of.
He can only do so many hours a day.
Yeah.
Before there's just exhaustion or just an inability to continue.